Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to be taking a look at Lesson 31 as we are exploring this text, kind of going through it bit by bit.
Yeah.
We're really starting to get into some of its guidance on how we can create personal transformation in our lives.
Right.
And I think today we're going to encounter a statement that really kind of challenges us to rethink how we see the world.
I'm ready.
Okay, so let's hear what Lesson 31 says.
Right.
I am not the victim of the world I see. That's a pretty bold statement, wouldn't you say? I mean, on the surface, it seems so simple, but when you really start to think about what it's saying,
Right.
it really challenges a lot of the beliefs that we kind of hold on to without even realizing it.
It really does. You see, I think a lot of times we go through life
Yeah.
feeling like things are just happening to us,
Yeah.
Like we're at the mercy of things outside of our control.
Circumstances.
Exactly. Or even our own thoughts and feelings sometimes. But this lesson, I think, is really about trying to shift that whole perspective. It's about recognizing that we actually have a lot more power to choose than we might realize.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we actually put that into practice? I mean, it's one thing to understand the concept, but how do we actually live it? That feels like a big jump.
Well, Lesson 31 actually gives us a pretty practical approach.
Okay.
It suggests a two-part practice, and it involves what it calls a sustained practice, which is something we do at specific times, and then a more frequent application, which is something we kind of weave into our day as we go along.
I'm definitely intrigued. Can you tell me a little more about this sustained practice?
Sure. So what it suggests is that we set aside a few minutes each morning and evening, maybe just 3 to 5 minutes for some dedicated reflection. And it suggests that we start by just kind of observing the world around us. What do we see? What do we hear?
Our surroundings.
Exactly. And as we do that, we're repeating this affirmation. I am not the victim of the world I see. And then we close our eyes and we direct that same statement inwards to our own thoughts and emotions.
One of the things that really stands out to me in this lesson is the instruction to observe our inner thoughts dispassionately. I'm curious, what does that actually mean in a practical sense?
It's like, imagine you're watching clouds drift across the sky.
Okay.
You're not trying to grab onto them or hold them back.
Yep.
You're not judging them, thinking, oh, that's a good cloud or that's a bad cloud. You're just kind of watching them as they come and go.
Okay.
And it's the same with our thoughts. We just observe them as they arise and pass through our awareness without getting all tangled up in them.
So it sounds like it's kind of a form of mental discipline.
It is.
Almost like we're training ourselves to not get swept away by every single thought that pops into our head.
You got it. It's about creating a little space
Yeah.
between our thoughts and our sense of self, recognizing that we are not our thoughts.
And this all comes back to the idea of not being a victim, right? Because if we can observe our thoughts without feeling like they define us, then we're less likely to feel controlled by them.
Right. It's a subtle shift.
Yeah.
But it can make a world of difference.
Now, earlier you mentioned a frequent application of the lesson throughout the day.
Oh, right.
Could you talk more about that? What does that look like?
Sure. So this is where we really start to integrate that affirmation into our daily life.
Okay.
Using it almost like a touchstone.
Okay.
Whenever we encounter those inevitable challenges or temptations that come up.
Right.
And by repeating, I am not the victim of the world I see.
Yeah.
We're reminding ourselves that we have the power to choose how we respond.
So it becomes a tool, kind of like a shield.
Yeah, I like that.
To help us from feeling overwhelmed or controlled by things that are happening around us.
Absolutely. It's about taking back our power moment by moment.
One of the things that I find really interesting is that Lesson 31 actually suggests that we can use this affirmation as a direct response to temptation.
Oh.
How would that work practically?
Okay, so picture this. You're in a situation.
Okay.
And you're feeling tempted to react in a way that, deep down isn't really in your best interest.
Right. Yeah.
At that moment, you can make a conscious choice to pause and say to yourself, I am not the victim of the world I see. It's like interrupting that automatic reaction and reminding yourself that you have the freedom to choose a different path.
It seems like that would take a lot of self-awareness.
It does.
To be able to catch ourselves in those moments of temptation.
It does. But like any skill, it's something we can develop with practice. The more we work with this lesson, the more we start to notice those subtle moments where we actually have a choice.
It's almost like we're rewiring our brains to go from a default setting of just reacting to things to one of conscious choice.
That's a great way to put it.
This has been so insightful. I really appreciate it. It seems like if we can truly grasp this idea that we are not victims,
Yeah,
it could completely change how we experience the world.
I agree.
And it leaves me with this question. If you truly believed you are not a victim of the world you see, how might your thoughts, feelings, and actions be different today? I'll leave you with that thought. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you for our next lesson.